Good morning. We're going to try this a little bit different this year. I've prepared a summary sheet for you for the Water and Sewer Fund. We're going to start with Catoosa. And we're doing the Water and Sewer Fund because we have several employees here that don't normally work on Fridays. So we're going to do that and get them out of here and on the road. Catoosa has a surplus, as you can see, of $459,535. All of the water fund does include a 3% rate increase and an increase in tap fees. And we have those individual tap fees if you're interested in seeing that. The whole budget does include a 2% COLA for all of the employees, and obviously does include the water and sewer fund as well. And then I mentioned the health insurance, and that's for both funds too. The capital projects for Catoosa include the completion of their building, and it also includes the continuation of combining their water meters with ours so that all of our services are the same. And we're working on combining those offices and getting everybody to City Hall rather than having an office out at Catoosa. So that's in the works as well. And then you can see listed there all of the different projects for Catoosa. Does anyone have any questions about those projects?
Do you know when they'll be in their building?
It'll be the fall. Yeah. Their budget's kind of simple.
So the Genesis Road tank, which one's that? Is that up here on the corner, or is that on the?
No, it's out just past Potter Road.
About 3 miles out.
Yeah, about the 6,000 block of Genesis Road.
Okay.
Then you have the phase 2 and 3 of Highway 127 North as well.
I've seen and briefly glancing through this with vehicles are mentioned, and it mentions Enterprise. Are we still leasing or buying or what?
We're buying those out as they expire, as the lease expires.
Okay.
You guys good there?
Yeah.
So are we good, or do we need to revisit this in the second or third reading? You guys good?
I'm good.
Okay.
I don't know that I'd call anything final at this juncture.
Okay. So like 80+%? Sound good?
That.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Okay, well, we'll move on then to the Water and Sewer Fund. Jeff, you're free to leave.
Y'all have a good one. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Jeff.
Like to report, every red light in town is working.
That's good. Talking budgets, that's good to know.
Okay, and then on the Water and Sewer Fund, we have a surplus of $251,964. There again, there's a 3% rate increase included in that, as well as the tap fees being increased. The new projects, sewer line from Montana Road to Meadow Park Lake. This is a project we've been working on, I don't know, 8-9 years at least, to try to get completed, and we've got in the budget this year. We're getting close to getting the easements completed for that. And then Northwest Connector Utility Road relocation, Old Montana Road water line replacement on County City Road as well, Sparta Drive, and then the Interstate Drive Utilities, the extension. So that was for. Yeah. And then asset management plan, which is required from ARPA funding that we do an asset management plan, and we've also included an employee to help with that, or a contract. We've gotten a grant of $250,000 or $225,000 to cover that for the water and for the sewer. This budget does also include 2 employees for water resources to run the Holiday Lake water treatment plant from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. It currently is not staffed during those hours. And then we're going to be completing projects that we already have going on, which is Crab Orchard Pump Station, Meadow Park Lake Dam Expansion, Genesis Road Sewer, Woodmere Water Tank Rehab for those.
Explain your less capital expense line.
with the asset management.
Negative 16 million.
Oh, the capital expenses don't count against, as far as the state goes, when you're looking at your surplus or deficiency, you get to remove the capital expenses out to see what it is without them. So that is all the capital expenses for all the departments in water sewer removed, so you can see what it is without those. They don't count that against you to come with your surplus, because they use depreciation for that. So once they're completed, they convert the depreciation account against you, so they don't count against you at this moment. That's just expenses either covered by grant or cash.
Joe, how will those two other employees help you? I know it's to keep Holiday open from 6P to 6A, but will that allow you to meet the at least foreseeable demand, especially with the contractual obligation that we've now made potentially to send the Water Authority 1 million gallons? Will that enable that to go on better?
Yeah, without the two employees, we had the two employees were staffed for decades out there, and then West Cumberland in 2009 stopped purchasing water from the city, which was about an average of 100,000 gallons a day. And then when those two guys retired shortly after that, they just didn't replace them because there was no need to have them.
Yeah.
When the pump station goes online, it's over three times the amount that we were selling to West Cumberland to employ those two members before, so we'll have to have them to be able to provide enough water for that to meet the contract for CPWA.
300,000 gallons minimum.
Up to 1 million, all right.
2 million.
Good, okay, good, thanks for that explanation.
Do y'all wish to go through each one of these tabs?
Back to their capital expense credit there. Capital expenses, is that the wish list of things to do?
That's all the projects we just looked at, plus you have, like, if they're purchasing, like, Water Resources has the HVAC at their plant, sealing the parking lots, some operator stuff there, and some mag meters. All of that kind of stuff comes off, so that's another $358,000 we don't have to count towards our stuff. So it's every department's capital expenditures from every department and the water sewer as a whole. So all the projects come out of that.
We don't have to count it, but it's still there.
It's still there, we just don't count it against us as far as the surplus goes until it starts depreciating, and then the depreciation.
Can
And
you
so,
talk about the depreciation? I think that's really what.
yeah, so the depreciation ends up being projected next year for both about $3.6 million. So that's what we count against us instead of the capital projects themselves.
A lot of that's because of the ARPA stuff that's now starting to hit.
It's starting to hit, yeah.
Big projects.
Big projects.
And do you have latitude on how you can thin that out, or do you have so many years it's got to be?
It's based on the useful life of whatever the project is, whatever it is. You have to base on the useful life of the lines, or
So what is that, 25, 50, what do you?
that could be, I usually get with them, based on what they did, some was 40, some's less. It just all depends.
So the 3% recommendation is because you're really trying to cover that.
Yeah, and I mean, I still think last year, we, in the water sewer fund, we ended up spending $1.2 million in cash than we brought in. And we're probably going to be about the same this year, even with an increase. We'll end up spending more than what we're going to bring in. Or the cash will probably decrease next year as well.
So is that not a concern? Should we,
It may work, some of it's going to be the projects overrun, and then you'll have the bond payment that's not, you don't see on here comes out. There's some things that affect that, but it may reduce over time depending on how those projects finish up and we don't have some cash on some of those. It's the match of some of those grants and things like that. Sure.
any questions? Are we good, or just somewhat good? Are we got a chance? Is that where we're at still? Okay, all right. Y'all have any other questions?
You gotta leave room. We're gonna have, what, 3 readings before this is all said and done? So,
Yeah, there'll be 3 readings. I don't know if you all want to have another work session or not, but this one is scheduled
we'll see how it goes.
until 12. And
That's why
Knock out a
I'm
lot of it.
trying to save that third reading that's supposed to be 10 minutes long and not turn it into another hour-long session. Okay.
Okay. And we'll move on to general fund, if that's okay with everybody.
Yep.
The fun stuff, right? Okay, so on your summary sheet, I've done something a little bit different. We took 2025 or 25-26 fiscal year and broke it down so you could see how many cents on the dollar is in each category. So for maintenance and government, it's 2 cents on the dollar. Finance and admin is 20 cents. Public works is 17 cents. Public safety is 13 cents. Community and economic development is 14 cents. And then we have other at 9%. And the other includes debt and outside agencies. So I thought that was interesting for you to see that breakdown, see where everything goes. The highlights of the budget for 26-27, there again, it includes 2% increase COLA for all the employees. A property tax rate increase was not included in this budget, which is good. We still will remain one of the lowest property tax rates in the state of Tennessee if you all choose not to raise rates. And then the insurance is projected to go up 10%, just as the water and sewer fund for the second half of the fiscal year. That's what we always budget. It doesn't always come in at 10%. It's usually around 3 or 4. But we go ahead and budget 10% for a worst case scenario in that category. And then we have an estimated $8 million of grants expected in this year's budget. The key allocations, downtown Crossville, Chamber of Commerce, the Cumberland County Playhouse, and then Cumberland County Veterans Affairs. New capital projects, and if you will notice, they're all centered around sales tax revenue, because on the second page, you'll see that 42% of our revenue comes from sales tax. So I feel like it's important to keep that base growing. So we've included the Main Street traffic signal replacements for downtown, continue that, you all have already approved that. And then Centennial Park turf replacement, or installation actually, because we continue to lose tournaments because we don't have turf, and we have to cancel them. So, and when we get to Parks and Rec, Ethan and Mason can address the need for that. And then also we'll continue our study on rerouting traffic off of Main Street. On the back page, you can see the expenses and the breakdown there of what the categories are. I know it's kind of hard to read, but I can send you another copy that's larger. Part of this budget does include a portion of that asset management plan employee. It also includes a 2.72 increase for TCRS contribution. That's for our legacy plan members. And I believe it's about 53 employees that affects. What was the total amount on that it added to the budget?
It added $134,000 expenses.
Yeah, to the budget. And then it also includes our contractual obligations for central dispatch, animal shelter, and the visitor center. And then it includes $60,000 of landfill repairs that we were not expecting. We had to add that last minute. And if you have any questions about that, Tim can answer what the repairs are. And then if we fully draw down the loan that we just received, then the new payment is going to be about $350,000, and that's included in the budget, which affects the surplus and the deficit and the structural budget. The structural budget, by the way, has a surplus of $30,914 at this point.
2 questions, please. What was the total amount of the grants expected for this year?
$8 million.
$8 million.
Yeah. It should be on that last bullet point under highlights on the first page.
Yes, it is, thank you. And since it happened way before me, can you explain some of the history behind Crossville's obligation to the visitor center?
It was a loan for the building itself through USDA that the city and the county entered into a partnership with. And we have consistently paid $42,500 to the county for that loan and for maintenance of the building and the employee. And it goes way back to probably 2010, 9-10, something like that.
Is the county or the chamber?
It's the county and the chamber, yeah. It's the chamber's responsibility to run it, but it's a county building.
Oh, okay. But we paid the county.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 20-year commitment?
Yeah.
And we're 16 years into it?
It's close, yeah. I could get you the exact date.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
talk trash.
Trash?
Tell me about the landfill. I thought we'd be done with that by now.
The cap, the trash is still deteriorating, and the cap has sunk in and has some rather large divots. And those divots have to be filled up with soil so that the rainwater runs off. By having the divots, the water ponds, the water soaks through the soil, goes through the trash, and eventually comes out somewhere. So that's part of our fix. A lot of dirt we're going to have to buy, and we have to be particular with the kind of dirt.
Okay.
So, to make sure that we're getting clean topsoil to go in there. Also, where the water is coming out at the bottom, we need to install quite a bit of limestone. Limestone will actually treat that water, and it is much cleaner when the water comes out of the limestone. So that's our cost. We've maintained it. We've done a really good job maintaining the landfill, but we're at the point that we're at the end of the permit, and I think if we get all of these things resolved within the next year and a half, I feel like that we're going to have a really good chance of closing the permit. But I'm not sure that the state's going to close any of the landfill permits throughout the state. So there's going to be some oversight from TDEC, I think, regardless of if the permit is closed.
Is there an amount for, besides that, for normal monitoring?
Yes, I think we have it's around $20,000 in the budget for the monitoring, and we have to monitor the gas vents 4 times a year, and we do water sampling out of 3 wells and 2 seeps twice a year. And we also have to provide them with a statistical analysis report that projects what the pollutants in the water would be forthcoming.
Thank you.
And could I please request from the animal shelter kind of a summary of what our $150,000 a year is used for? I've never seen that. Would be interested.
I can send you the contract on that, yes, but basically it says any expenses we split at 50/50 with the county
Okay.
for approximately 30 to 40 animals per year.
I would be interested to see that. Thank you.
On our, go back to the revenue. On our revenue, we have only projected a 1% increase from this year. We're being very conservative in our revenue projections just because the uncertainty of the economy right now. So that's a recommendation that we're making. Of course, you can increase that if you wish to do that. Then we also had almost a 4% growth in building permits that we're projecting. There is, if you will notice, a decrease in the overall revenue from last year, but that's mostly due to the grants that we won't be getting next year, such as the spec building. That was a pretty large grant, so that hit the percentage pretty hard because it was $4.5 million. So it will go down by about half of that to almost complete. And then, as we've talked about several times, a decline in interest revenue as well as alcohol taxes. And then on the bottom of page 2, you'll see all of the grants that we anticipate for 26-27. So that's a brief overview. We'll go through each one of the tabs.
You want to do the legislative board, you want to do all of them? Or-
We could start with IT department, yeah. There wasn't a whole lot added in this budget except for a server.
They did have some subscriptions go up for some new services. That's one of the biggest increases there.
I'm good. Well, good. Are we good with IT? Can we be done with IT?
Yeah.
These things, $15,000 per server, right?
And then increasing subscriptions.
You put a big red X somewhere so you know that we're good to get.
And then we'll go on to engineering.
I think there was much in that.
Yeah, there wasn't much there either. And they didn't have any requests either.
You're adding one employee,
That's the
engineering?
asset management.
Yeah, it's for the asset management plan for the water sewer, so actually the water sewer reimburses for that. It's added into here, but the increase in water sewer transfer was added to cover that. Yeah.
Is that a permanent position?
Yes. You were only going to grant the first year.
Once the asset management plan is built, our capital improvement plan should be based off of that. So every year, based off of the maintenance and things on the asset, it ought to direct us in a direction of which assets we need to replace.
And then stormwater, same thing. Not much there. Because that is required. And then planning commission, same thing. I don't think we increased anything.
It's exactly the same.
City Hall building, there were a couple of requests, but we talked to the city clerk and she said we can wait another year on the flooring and the legitimate management software. So we did not include that in this budget. And then maintenance has a vehicle that will be buying out from Enterprise. Is it just one, Nathan?
Just one.
Was it a year old?
It's a 2022, but it'll be, I won't have too many miles on it. And they'll probably get it, say it'll be probably under 30, so that's just a guess. Usually, we'll be doing that. I think the last ones will roll off in 2030. It's the last two. We got two last year, so it'll take 5 years for them.
Okay.
Then on to admin. This includes, this is where the Cumberland County Veterans Affair is, and then as well as the animal shelter, special event costs for all the street closures, and then timekeeping software. We don't have current, but we are purchasing that this year.
Yes.
I know we'll talk about it when we get to outside agencies, but since we're talking about the Cumberland County Veterans Affairs, I was looking at their budget. They're asking for 25, gave them 20.
Yeah, I'll have to go back, I don't have the sheet in front of me.
And I was looking at their budget, they have a gap of like $13,000. And based on what they're asking for, I don't know what the difference, why they're asking for the additional money. So, I mean, my thoughts are that as a county service, we just give them 15. To cover that 13 and some change gap. I'm not sure if y'all looked at their budget or not. They did a pretty good job showing the budget, but something I'd like y'all to consider. Still giving them money, pretty good amount for the percentage of veterans that we have in our city for the county. It also is a county service that we're supplementing. So just it's something that I kind of pulled out for conversation. We can talk more about, but just wanted y'all to think about that.
Is that all of it? I feel like there was something else, like the beautification and, yeah, welcome sign maintenance, that's the category that stuff is in.
The interstate signage is not, is it?
That's under economic development budget. And then we're expecting a reappraisal fee this year. So we're up for reappraisal. That includes, there's $8,500 included for that.
Where's the welcome sign?
That's in economic development. Oh, what is the welcome sign?
Where is it?
At Water Tank Hill, and then there's one right over.
Okay. What about the one at Chestnut Hill crossing over the interstate?
The chamber takes care of that.
Oh.
Any questions about any of that? Changes, suggestion? Okay, we'll move on then to police. Just scroll down to the bottom, I can see this. We are recommending a side-by-side, which they requested, mostly to help the downtown events and for homeless. When they have a homeless situation that they go into, it would be safer for them to be on a UTV rather than on foot. And then expanding the impound lot, that's for a fence and security at the impound lot, I believe. And then sealing their parking lot at the main police department, and then new police cars for the amount of $419,000.
What kind of police cars are we going with this year? What do y'all?
Probably whatever they can get.
I'm sorry, what kind of new police vehicles are you putting in for this year? I mean, Dodges or
Well,
what are you putting
I'm
in?
finding out the Dodges are cheaper, but they're harder to maintain.
Okay.
And I'm having better luck with the Explorers.
Okay.
And of course, you gotta pay about 10,000 more for each one. But the Dodges, the brakes on them's over $1,000 to redo the brakes. And I've got one right now, it's down, the motor's blowed in it. So if it's happened to one, it's probably gonna happen to all of them, at some point in time. So I'd like to go with probably, it's according to what kind of deals they get, but I'd like to go with the Explorers if I can.
When you get those through the state, are there certain windows that open up when you can order them, or how does that work when you order
Yes, sir.
them?
If we order them, usually it's like November through December. That's all they build is police cars during that time period. And so you got to be in that window to buy them.
So that's what you try to do, is
Yes,
get
sir.
your order ready. Behooves you to order them all at once.
I've been lucky. Last couple of years, I've found one-year-old cars that's not been sold, but I think everybody else has got on that bandwagon too, and they're buying cars. It was getting like the Chargers. I got them probably $8,000 cheaper because it's a year old. But I don't know. I can't count on that. And if I find that, they might be 40 blue cars, and then you got to change your fleet colors and stuff like that. So you got to be real careful about that.
So if you don't order them early on the front end, you start picking from what's
You just have
left.
to get what's left, yes, sir.
Those Dodgers have Hemis in them?
Some of them do, some of them don't. Well, the one's blowed up now, it's got a Hemi, but they're not as tough as I thought they would be, so.
So what you're saying is your maintenance budget's gone up with the Dodge fleet?
Yeah, the motor for this Dodge is gonna cost us, I think it was about 6,000 is what the motor for that Dodge is.
I think we'll have a little bit more than that in it time we get done with it.
Yeah, so we're talking about all the bills, it's not all the bells and whistles, just to make it run. It's gonna run us about 6,000 to 8,000. You don't know till we get all the parts in, so.
Take the whole car apart to put it in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on police? Bobby Fire. They had a couple of vehicles that are, the lease is expiring, so we're gonna have to purchase those vehicles. It was two 2500 HD, three vehicles. And those are the trucks.
2 pickups and a squad.
They've been very serviceable, haven't they?
They have been exceptional.
I know we'll talk about this in outside agencies, but I know Cumberland County Rescue Squad is in the fire budget. And I know we've had quite a bit of discussion this past year about, the city EMS stuff and all that. And some of the things that came out of that was just how highly qualified and certified and trained our people are. And Mike, I know you're a big fan of them, but it's like, Rescue Squad.
Yeah.
They're asking for 17, we've been giving them 10, and all they're asking for is to cover a bunch of their trainings that we have our people already trained and certified on, if I'm not mistaken.
Don't disagree with you.
I just think it's a redundancy of service. I don't think the city is really in need of giving the money. I'd rather take that 10 grand and pay off half that UTV, that's just my conversation. I'd like for us to consider not funding them this year. Mainly it's because it's a service that we're not using and what I'm aware of, and it's a redundancy of services, and our people are more than qualified and can handle. So.
But, wait, until that's okay, until the next time they have a big search and rescue, and all agencies are involved, including rescue squads. Is that true, Chris? I mean,
Well, obviously, we utilize them in those events. But
I mean, there is the opportunity for them to be in, rescue squad to be involved.
But if you look at their budget, which they
Yeah.
have, they don't need the money, they have surplus.
Right, I'm with you.
So that's kind of where I'm at too, is if it wasn't creating a redundancy of services and they needed the money to get flush, I don't think us funding them or not is going to change their ability to continue doing what they're doing within their close-up shop. So that's where I'm at on that. So. Just like for us to maybe put that on the radar when we get to outside agencies, I'd like to bring that back up.
Any other items?
The requested folks, additional staffing, 3 employees for staffing, was that was to keep our staffing level to where it is, or a new projected? What was the 3 additional?
I believe that was the minimum staffing that he was requesting. And I believe those discussions started when his overtime was really high because they were utilizing so many employees, but a lot of them were at school during that time, so there was extra staff coverage. He's done a great job of reducing his overtime since then.
But still maintaining, staffing?
Where's the meteorology thing? I know we do get a contract.
It'd be under contractual services.
When is that up?
It's up June 30th.
And that's, how much is that per year?
It's $300 per month. So.
How much a month?
300.
For what?
Meteorologist mark.
Oh,
So it's like 3,600 a year?
I believe we have that on the agenda for June to discuss since it's expiring June 30th. More questions?
I think it would be good for that discussion is to know what we would want of that service and what we're being provided,
Okay.
and can what we want be provided. I think that'll help you make a decision
Okay.
where we go forward on
Okay.
that. Maybe not what we want from that, what we need from that service.
But it's a better way to ask it.
On the rescue squad, how much did we get last year? 10,000?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
They're asking for how much this year?
I budgeted 10. That's what's in the budget right now, it's only 10. I left it where it was at.
That's what I'm looking at, 10. How come there's 7 more then? Except for training,
It's
huh?
paid for training, yeah.
If you pull,
They just come up
yeah,
recently.
if you pull up their, I'm not sure what you're looking at, but the thing that he sent over, their request, if you go to, is it the cover page or whatever, they're asking for 17 grand.
I haven't seen that.
I sent an email about a month ago with all the outside agency
Got a little tab
requests.
thing on there. Are you on it?
Are you on, where are you at? So let's do this. So you do that, and then you just, it took me a minute to figure that out. I wasn't that fancy. And then you go right there.
I think he's looking at the actual request. I sent him copies of the actual request.
Okay, so there's another email he sent that actually is a zip file as well that has,
Every organization.
Outside agencies.
We'll get to that, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, then we can pull that up, right? So,
I have all the requests right here. I don't have them up on this computer. I have a paper copy. I don't have them scanned in. I can't.
he's in the
see
paper
any
copy
ones.
if you want to see what.
Yeah.
Okay, so any questions? We can move on to codes. In our department meeting, I know that codes had requested to remodel their office, and we asked them if they could possibly put that off another year, and they agreed to do so. So their budget's pretty basic.
Remodel the office
Yeah.
upstairs?
Their staffing has changed quite a bit. You know, they were at 3 or 4 employees, now they're down to 2. So they've got like 3 or 4 cubicles and 1 glass office, so they wanted to open it up a little bit more.
And replace the 1978 carpet.
Shag carpet with rake.
You can't really tell what it is right now. It's almost see-through. Okay. Highways and streets. This includes, I know that he wanted to do some horse trading, but trading around a grader and getting a skid steer instead of that. And then he had some vehicles for enterprise. It includes a leaf machine as well, correct?
So would that leaf machine be in addition to what we already have, or would you get rid of what you're using and just use that solely?
What we'll actually get rid of, we have 2 old model trucks, and when we took over the leafs, we didn't want to buy new trucks or anything to actually use for that. We wanted to make sure we was going to stay in the business. Well, these 2 trucks are falling apart, so I can get rid of those 2 trucks. Instead of buying 2 new trucks for the leaf machines we've got, we can buy that is a self-pertained leaf machine that's got the motor and the box and everything on it. I can hook up it with any truck. So we would do away with 2 trucks and not repurchase them and remove them out of the fleet and replace it with that leaf machine. But we still have the 2 old leaf machines we've got for when we got a big push for leaf, we can send everybody out to do that. But we do away with the 2 old trucks, so they would come completely off, and we'd replace them with the 1 self-pertained leaf machine. We rented one like that the first year we took over the leaf. We rented one, and it will work really well. It holds twice as much leaf as the other ones do, so.
And then the conversation about the skid steer, so we're gonna get rid of a piece of equipment?
Yeah,
or-
he's gonna get rid of the grader.
We've got the 1999 grader that we've been bumping forward every year. We really don't want to get rid of the grader, but we don't use it that much. So we would utilize the skid steer more than we will the grader. So we could phase the grader out a few years down the road when we couldn't fix it. But we can utilize the skid steer for the replacement of the grader. And in that cost is the grader blade stuff that you could use for shoulder work stuff like we would use for and do away with the grader eventually, but the grader's 300-something thousand, so we're saving by replacing it with the skid steer, then we're gonna save a little money, but still be able to do the same job.
Well, you'll be able to do even more than that with skid steer, won't you?
Huh?
You'll be able to do more than just grading the.
Yeah, we've got,
Do all kind of stuff. with
Yeah, we've
skid
got
steer.
so much more that we can utilize the skid steer for that we can't use the grader for, so.
Can we not just get rid of the grader and just be solely skid steer, or do you think?
We can, but I really don't want to just get rid of it, because in the wintertime, I can use it on winter events, snow events. We can use it, we won't put no more money in the grader, but it don't have the depth and all that with it, so it's not going,
Well, there's still use out of it.
yeah, we can still use it.
Any other questions?
Mayor, go back to the rescue squad just for a second. I noticed in their copier, they assist government medical center, fire department, EMS, police, Tennessee Highway Patrol. Does the state or criminal medical center donate anything to the rescue squad, do we know it?
In their budget, and I think it's reflected, we saw something from the state, they get grants from the state.
Not guaranteed though, it's not just something, they automatically get them.
I don't know.
Okay.
You know, as well as I do, sometimes there's grants that we get just about every year, I can't think of the top of the head.
Like airport maintenance is a renewing grant.
Well,
Technically,
It could go
take out of
away.
the budget, but it's not.
Criminal medical center, I mean, do they give you, it would be under their.
Well, if you go over to the donations, if you, I don't know if you, is that the whole thing?
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But if you flip over there, there's a section in their budget where they've got a pretty big substantial amount of money that they get in donations. So you can see right there, I think. Should be top line there. Say, I have it in front of me.
Public support, so then you got the government, you got civic charities, individual, so you can see how much money they.
We've talked about the landfill and the solid waste is just the contractual increase.
Yeah.
So on the cemeteries, there's nothing really to talk about there, just basic increases for operational.
That's the
Then
only
you add the
thing.
seasonal employee for 10 weeks in the summer to help with weed eating at the cemetery.
They're not gonna have any contractual services?
No, they didn't have any this year. That's actually, it's actually right here, it's been mislabeled, so it's just moved up to, it's a subscription they have for the plots and all that
The
stuff. So
cemetery software.
it's been, yeah, I just moved it to a different line item.
Oh, okay.
So it's right here, it's in there.
Okay.
Any questions? Yep. Okay, we'll go on to Parks and Rec. And the playground is in their budget, but that is going to be funded by grants. And then we added the turf this year, approximately $2 million. That would be a purchase out of cash. That's not included in the structural budget.
It's listed in the capital projects budget, that's why it's not on here, sorry.
Yeah, it's in the capital projects budget, that's why it's not in there. So I've asked Ethan and Mason to come and kind of give us some background on what the importance of the turf is. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's pretty much three areas you're going to see it. First is just your daily maintenance. If you put these turf infields in, you're going to cut down, I'm going to estimate at least a couple hours a day, several hours across the week, because a lot of your lines and your boxes are already done. We'll start to add a few every day depending on what they're playing. That's going to cut down, immediately cuts down, you lose conditioner, clay, sure dry, all that stuff is gone. We don't need it anymore. So that's going to drop your facility maintenance budget quite a bit, or your field maintenance budget, excuse me, quite a bit. We don't have to do nearly as much chalk. We'll have to do a little bit here and there daily, but overtime goes down quite a bit, and that leads me into the biggest part, tourism. We all know how much these softball tournaments bring in. Example, we had one a couple weeks ago. It's called the Bash for Cash. It's not even our biggest tournament, but everything went great. It was a 2-day tournament. Brought in about $130,000 just in one weekend, just in tourism. What she mentioned earlier was we lost a couple tournaments. One in particular I'm pretty sour about. We lost the spring state tournament. That's probably what 60, 70 teams went to Athens because of turf.
Can you talk about that? Like, well, why is turf so attractive?
When it rains, nothing happens. They wait for the rain to stop, they hop right back on.
So that's what is this, they can kind of control their schedule better with turf. Okay.
So what happens is, for example, I'll use another example, of Falls State that we did keep last year. It started raining Friday. We put in 3-4 hours on Friday, got them going. It rained Friday night. Saturday morning, we put in another 3-4 hours. They played till about 2 o'clock. It rained again. We put in another 3-4 hours. They came back Sunday. It rained Saturday night. We put in another 3 or 4 hours. They had to cut everything down. The amount of overtime, I try not to even think about how much it was. It was quite a bit.
Is it just turf, or you guys have to put like a drainage system in too, or is it just that you just squeegee it off? Like, is there more to it?
There
than
is
turf?
There is drainage,
Okay.
and that's included in that price.
Is this like the Cal Ripken?
Essentially, yeah.
So the whole thing's turf?
We would not
The
do
brown, the green?
We wouldn't do
white.
the grass.
They wouldn't do the grass?
Yeah, just the infield. We want to keep our grass. We like our grass.
Yeah, and that tends to be what the combination that everybody seems to like is the grass outfields and the turf infields. If nothing else, the grass is a lot easier to maintain and stays more dry than the actual clay that we have. So it cuts down on a lot of different things. And there's, as he was mentioning about the impact, we have a lot of good fast pitch softball tournaments. We're getting bigger in the baseball scene, but there's a couple organizations that they strictly only play on turf. So that's the first question they ask when they email is, do you guys have any turf? Do you have any turf within so many miles away in case we get postponed, in case we get delayed? So there's two organizations for sure that are some of the biggest baseball in the Southeast that we've been in contact with for the last 2 or 3 years, but they end up picking another facility because there's turf involved or being able to use it.
So
Does it take special equipment to maintain the turf?
We'll probably have to switch one small piece of equipment on something we already have. But typically, we have to drag every field every day. You only have to drag turf maybe once a month.
Has it got coffee grounds in it?
It's the
Essentially,
little, yeah, it's the little black pellets.
Yeah.
And as it's gotten more and more advanced, the pellets are smaller, there's less, the surface underneath is a lot easier to maintain, so it keeps the pellets from not being able to flare up and group up and stuff like that. So, I mean, as in the last 3-4 years, I mean, it's just become a lot more advanced in the production and the material.
The other thing it does, we're talking about tourism, but that's every weekend. But we put this in, it's our local folks that are going to benefit as well. We've been in a bit of a drought this spring, so our schedule has moved very well. However, this week, for example, we got 2 days of rain. They lost 2 days of games and practices. That would not have happened on either of those days this week.
Let me ask you this too, as you mentioned the difference of local and then bringing people in. Is there a way to where does every single field need to have this done? Like the T-ball coaches' pitch fields needed as much as like your baseball and softball, or is there a way to focus more on them and then phase those in over time just from a necessity cost standpoint, or do you think it's worth the benefit of just doing them all?
I think it's worth the benefit of doing it all, especially at a $2 million price. Getting it all done, nobody's left out. You have to choose between adults or kids. It's kind of just depends on how you want to look at it. The adults currently are the ones bringing in a little bit more tourism money, so you can look at it that way and reward them first. However, we all know when youth tournaments come in, they bring in a whole lot more, because it's not just one player coming in, it's a family of 4 for every player.
Grandparents.
Yeah.
Aunts and uncles, cousins.
Concessions are always very excited when youth tournaments come in.
But it seems to be a trend around the surrounding counties.
Yeah,
that everyone's going to this turf, and we feel like we're falling behind.
Yeah, we will. Yes, we will be.
Cookville's in contracts to be able, before next season that they start, they'll have it like you mentioned, Athens, Knoxville, Nashville. I mean, and I know obviously there are bigger metro areas, but I mean, we're getting the bigger adult tournaments and some of the youth tournaments more than Nashville and Knoxville, just, if nothing else, just our central location. And, so price of hotels, that's another thing. I mean, we have plenty of nice hotels versus paying an extra $50 to $75 a night somewhere else. So I mean, that there's a lot of attractiveness, obviously, to Crossville with our location for the tournament. So
When they're coming into Centennial, the Genesis exit has grown quite a bit, and it's continuing to grow, so we're very well placed.
So the fees or costs that you all charge, or I'm assuming that's going to go up a little bit,
It
or
would.
to try to
Yes.
capture what you can.
Yes.
Obviously, we're going to save money on overtime. But okay, cool.
When they do an install, do they come in and do it field by field by field? Or do they come in and do everything to each field in a stage? so that
They're
they're
likely to go
complete?
field by field. About, depending on the field, T4 is going to take a little longer, it's huge, but T5 is not, it's probably average about a week and a half to 2 weeks a field.
So this would be a winter project?
Yes.
Nathan, the concerns I get, people call me, nobody mans the scoreboards. I don't know if it's, nobody wants to work, or,
That's up to the league right now. We do not do that ourselves.
so you don't take care of that. Like the 10 to 13-year-olds baseball and stuff on Turner Field. So that's up to the league to get that done.
We don't staff that, correct.
Okay, that answered that question.
And you've got fairly recent replaced scoreboards, right?
Yes, sir.
But, okay.
All the lights work.
So far.
we actually just replaced a few of the light bulbs on the different fields.
So what
last
league do
week.
you do with the scoreboards?
We don't do it.
None.
Yeah, even the tournaments. I mean,
Yeah, they handle their own
a
school
lot of
teachers.
the youth leagues are just volunteers. That's why sometimes I feel like it's hard for them to get people to come out on the weeknight if their kid or something has something else to do. But as far as like the tournaments, the director or the organization is paid.
Who pays for the umpires for like the baseball fast pitch?
The league does.
Yeah.
The league does? Okay.
I hear people brag on our complex over there all the time. Not just, they say it's not just some of the nicest public parks they've played on, it's nice parks they've played on, so it's really legit.
Okay, we're going to Park Lake. Looks like all we've got there is a sign. We've been out there recently, but the sign there at Sea Lake Road is deteriorating quickly, so that needs to be replaced.
Do we do the mulching, the mulch, or whatever the stuff goes into these playgrounds? Is that before? I'm sure you saw.
He just did the mulch yesterday, actually.
That's what I reassured them there's a time and a place when we do that.
We're actually getting rid of mulch as quickly as we can.
Oh, yeah, that's why I hate to say the word mulch, but I know there's whatever needs to be in there.
Email that you sent.
Go back and find it. It's been in mobile a month ago.
I've looked under the January.
I'll find it.
Do you have more questions, Mike?
He was asking about that email I sent him.
Okay.
I'll find
Yeah.
it for it
What would
too.
the heading be under?
It's outside agency. I think
It's outside
what it was.
And just a compliment,
I've
Ethan,
looked
he
all the way
feels so
through, I don't
strongly about this turf that he's basically eliminated all of his requests in all the departments in order to get it.
I will say, I just went back to Palace Theater, I mean, that,
It looks
it looks
fantastic.
amazing. I held a team event there, and they were in awe. They've been there. I know they're working on continued updates. I'd just like for us to consider making sure, if not this year, next year, that we do try to make sure we take care of them. I know there were some things that we eliminated, but
And as always, we'll be on the lookout for grants.
well, yeah, I mean, that's the beauty, right? We've done, you all done a great job with that.
Okay, what's next? The depot. I don't think there were any significant increases in that one, was it ever?
No, nothing there.
And tree board, this includes the urban forester grant that we received. It's a 2-year grant of about $150,000, so $75,000 each year that will be reimbursed for. Basically, the tree board meets monthly, and they get a $15 paycheck every month that they meet, and they make sure that we meet the requirements for Tree City USA, which I think this is our 28th year of being Tree City USA.
What was the, excuse me, one question on that, and you may have said it, and I just missed it. What about the contract, the grant that we got for an arborist?
That's the same one.
Same
Before,
one?
yes.
Same one, okay, thank you.
That's actually out for bid right now, by the way.
Okay, great.
All right, then I'll turn over the mayor for outside agencies.
Oh, boy. We're done with the
You could have some else.
I just have one more.
Oh, you have the marketing, yeah. Let's go ahead and do the marketing, and we'll come back, yeah. So there were some increases just because of increased cost.
So are we still thinking that flying is something that we want to, I know we've reduced the budget, but
We reduced the budget, and I've told them to raise the amount of money that they spend, so it should be a wash. And we have that over in the revenue.
Yeah. Is it all about?
For that.
Thank you, sir.
I am glad that you all kept the employee stuff, and I think that's good that we do that. Work hard, party hard. I think it's well received. Good job sent them. So.
Any questions about any of that?
Christmas parade is all prizes, correct?
And Santa.
Santa went up a little bit.
Are you kidding? How this is what? What's that?
Santa went up a little bit.
Sean Hans.
Legit. I've done Santa many times. I'll be more than happy to do it.
Oh, no, he's pretty good.
Upper Cumberland Santa is his.
Oh, so he's a part of that. He's legit. So he's legit. Okay.
Well, he didn't tell me his name.
So you pull it stays. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, mine doesn't stay.
I understand.
Santa's all right.
Busy guy.
Okay, oh, we got to have him come here.
Transportation.
We'll call his people.
The 250 over that 5 slots, that's going to be more, that's the DCI and the chamber stuff, okay?
Yeah, and we have a little bit of money left this year that we're spending for that. We've ordered pole banners, which are going to go up Memorial Day.
Do any donations that come in for the flying go directly toward that, or do they go in the general fund? How does that work, donations that come in for?
There's enough that comes in offset, it just goes into our general fund.
Uh-huh.
We budget the same amount we budget as expense. So we budget that much for donations.
There is a category though.
Well, there's a category.
Yeah, there's a category specifically
Yes.
for that.
Donations from
Yes.
flying, okay.
But the big price difference is we've found something that brings the cost on some of these things. that we
Planes,
bring in.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's went down 18 to 20,000, not doing a lot of that kind of stuff, so.
yeah.
And it's been successful.
Oh, yeah, yes, I appreciate it, yeah.
Y'all good with that? Can we take a 5-minute break before we go into the next thing? Next thing will be a little bit longer.
Yeah. So everyone that's finished, you're welcome to leave.
Baseball.
You can hang around. You do? Ready?
Next week's sports show, we're doing certain cars.
Okay. Let's get into this. We're in the outside agencies.
Sorry, I was just putting it.
You all did get this email, right? You did get this, okay. There's only one new request.
It's not on here. Yeah,
So,
that
but
was,
just so you know,
yeah.
but I think at this point, they didn't even fill out the basic requirements. I didn't give a,
it was a random, we didn't ask them for anything, they just sent a request. We sent out letters to those we gave to the year before to ask for information, and those were the ones that responded.
Is this actual monetary request or some of this building
So we,
sewer taps, stuff like that?
the Habitat for Humanity, that is water sewer taps. And so that one went up because we increased those fees, so that's the 3 water sewer taps each year.
It's a donation in kind type of thing.
Yeah, there was something to do with it, they gave us some property for a trail several years ago. We got about 30 more to provide for them, I think, and so that's 3 for next year. So that's the amount of those, the cost of those. And that's just the dues, pretty much for the UCHRA, that's the dues they.
And the sheet you got is actually everything, because some of the other organizations.
Are on the economic development, which is here.
And also like the rescue squad and the fire department, the Kerwin County Veterans thing is in the admin,
Yeah.
so some of them.
They're in different spots, yes.
Yeah.
But that spreadsheet has them all listed.
Now, if you want to just do this, so we put in, this has always been the case, but we put in the Chamber of Commerce, the Playhouse, DCI, a lot of these that we put into the hotel motel because we feel like these are economic generators. They either provide services for the city that we otherwise would have to pay for, or they drive sales tax revenue. And so that's why they're in this. And so the big thing with the chamber, the increase is to cover the difference from the tourism aspect that we were fortunate enough, was it 2 years? How many years did we have how much money did the state give us?
The American Rescue Plan Act funds have been available now for years, and it comes to a close in November of this year. We were able to double our ARPA as an allotment due to creating a new position that solely focuses on tourism, which this community has never had.
Yeah, so the tourism commissioner came in, Ezel, which I think those of you that came to the event, you were there. Highlighting kind of tourism as a whole, but in the backdrop, there was a pre-meeting at the chamber office with myself and city manager and the chamber of speaking with the tourism commissioner about the need for driving tourism. We're very fortunate to already be in the top 16. We were 16 out of 95 counties. Then we moved to 15. And what he's saying is a lot of that's happening just kind of organically. And then he gave us some examples of other counties that were above us and what they were doing and what he's seen trend-wise. And so he encouraged us to consider a tourism director. A commitment that I made to him was that we would give it a try, beta test it, and see how that went. And we had PJ in the position about a full year, right?
Just over.
Which obviously is being guided by Ethan as the chamber president. But you're seeing the fruits of the labor already. But the thing is, once that money runs out, he has asked the city and the county to make up the difference to make sure that tourism goes on. So this is our half. I've had a conversation with the county mayor. I feel strong that they will also hopefully match us or come close to that. And so that's where you see the increase. And I just want to kind of give you the genesis on that conversation because some of you weren't in that room. So I didn't know if you had any other questions or thoughts about that. That's really the big thing on here. I think you all know the other ones.
In the sports council, that's the hotel rooms that we give for the tournament directors.
Well, PJ, he should pay for himself, way more than pay for himself, especially.
And he's been tasked with metrics, which I think he's shared some of those. He'll continue to add more, or if we have recommendations that we want him to track. But the big thing, it's a lagging indicator, of course, but hotel motel is where you're going to see a lot of that tourism. Right. And then the other in the backdrop is obviously sales tax revenue, right? someone comes in and decides that they want to go to the White House, they're purchasing a ticket, they're purchasing food and beverage there, and/or they're purchasing food and beverage outside the city limits and/or a hotel. So, right, is that pretty much, those are the two main drivers, but there's other things that he's doing, obviously, with social media.
There are things, too, that you wouldn't know unless you looked for them. Last night at the Cumberland County Schools Career and Technical Education Benefit, our summer intern, Layla Howard, was recognized in that awards program. And in those comments that Dr. Eldridge made about each student, the work that she did for the chamber in that short period of time was listed largely in her accomplishments. We have, with this position, we have the power to interface more consistently with the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, with the Upper Cumberland Tourism Association, to offer opportunities to our youth to be engaged in this process. And as the mayor mentioned, the metrics so far using the ARPA funds have demonstrated progress, and we expect fully for that to continue.
And by having him in that position, it allowed us to also move into the Main Street program, which opens up a massive amount of grant opportunities that we didn't otherwise have, that gives us focus on the downtown footprint, right? From the signage and other things like that. So just that, along with DCI's involvement, the Chamber's involvement, the city and county, you just can see a lot of synergy and a lot of good coming from just that in the first really full year, right? So anyways.
I'm impressed enough with him as an individual, what he's doing and has done, that if you feel like the county is not going to support their portion of it, that I would feel comfortable with us stepping up and doing whatever we need to support him fully, because you insinuated at least that maybe they're undecided from a county standpoint or unsure. I don't want to lose that.
Sure. Well, in the conversation right behind you, we're going to make that kind of investment, and really, that's another way PJ can get involved, which is directly in the city. So I just want to make sure y'all were comfortable with that, or let's get that fleshed out now, because if we're not willing to do our part, then Ethan's going to have some hard conversations. So I wanted to make sure that we talk about that. So, you have questions, comments, thoughts? Okay.
Anything else on those?
Yeah, I got just a question there. Well, something I was thinking about on the signage on I-40. When I'm traveling, the ones that are well kept, as far as are we going to mow the area around it?
We will be.
We will be doing it? Okay, good. And then is it, I'm assuming it's lit at night?
Yes.
Okay.
We have
Yeah.
included that in our request. We're still waiting on a TDOT permit. We're still waiting on a TDOT permit.
You have to get a permit to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
On their state, interstate, yeah. Permit to do anything.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great, because the ones I've noticed that, there where you travel and you see the ones that are well kept, and man, they just pop.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the ones that aren't, it's like,
Do we have some mock-ups in mind, or do we have something that we're working on?
Yes, I can share that with you. That was probably before you came.
Yeah,
on
we looked at
council.
them
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I can share that with you.
Okay. We have tentative, where we requested TDOT permits, which exchanges?
At Peavine Road and at.
22 and 17.
Both directions, or?
One each exit. One going east and one going west.
I guess we'll go to the main thing there. The only two things that I brought up were obviously the Veteran Service Office and Rescue Squad. I don't know if there's anyone else that wants to talk about anything else. Let's just get it all out there. I'd like to try to have a conversation about whatever you want to have here while we have the time.
Something that's not up there, just, I don't remember, this was before me. What was the thinking 2 or 3, 4 years ago about when the support for the TAD Center was decreased? Was it thought to be redundant? What was it Why was that stopped? Do you recall, anybody recall?
I think it was just an overall effort to reduce the outside agencies, and based on their budget, they were, well, the budget was in balance.
Okay.
And they didn't necessarily need the funding.
Okay. Yeah, I'll speak to that. I mean, you know as well as I do, since I came on, I've tried to cut this.
Sure.
My first or second year on council, it was approaching almost $500,000, if you included an outside agency funding. I just felt necessary to cut it, especially if it was not as city-specific, or if it was, they were flush with cash, right? So that's I guess Tad got part of that.
Yeah, they did, and they're in city buildings, so they do contribute.
Well, what's next? Because I want to make sure we talk about I want some feedback on the rescue squad. I want some feedback on the veteran services.
The veteran services is not on this page, that's the honor guard. What was it?
Right here, you have this with you? This has them all underneath one.
I have credentials.
It's in a, I think maybe in your stack.
You got it. It's just easier than us going, because, like I said, there's one's an admin, one's
I
a
know they
fire.
print out several copies, I don't know if that's, yeah, that's it right there. Veteran services, there's $20,000.
So you put it all on one page?
I summarized them all for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
With a history, 2 to 3 years for them. You can see what we've done the last several years.
I don't,
Yeah.
it's all gifted.
So Wags and Whiskers, quick comment to us, I guess.
I think it's maybe one of the ones we gave, we cut it, so if that's an old one, we'll probably cut them out.
I haven't seen them on there in a while. That's just, that's a neutering service, right?
Yeah.
How did the veterans go from 20,000 to 139,000?
No, that's the county side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember I asked last year, can we have a comparison?
Yeah, okay.
Emergency management, looks like we've given them $32,000 a year plus a vehicle and fuel, right? And that's what they get from us each year, the vehicle, fuel, and $32,000.
Yes, I'm still looking for a
that right?
contractual
Just
obligation
vehicle
for that.
fuel.
We give them $32,000 a year
I
also.
Okay.
It's my understanding that it's just a donation.
The furthest back I can find the donations in 1994. I haven't found anything before that, but that's the earliest I found.
I keep it certainly by name, that's Cumberland County Emergency Management.
And there again, we're putting fuel in their truck, we're insuring it, we're supplying tags.
So that could be a potential thing that is removed off. Okay. And you said the visitor center, we're
4 years left to go.
Till 2030. Okay. And you did say the animal shelter, I know you said we're in a contract there, so it's.
Maybe Randy can renegotiate our contract possibly
It's a,
for the animal shelter.
it's a yearly renewal, automatic renewal year by year.
And I've been told if we would like to have it, the county will give it to us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The visitor center?
Animal shelter.
Oh, animal shelter,
Oh,
okay.
we'd be happy to give it to the county, wouldn't we? Our part.
And there again, Chief Brooks said 30 to 40 animals per year.
30 to 40.
How many?
30 to 40.
You could take that many at your home, couldn't you?
Almost. Last one had to eat the siding off my house, so I had to, it was a risk.
right, so I'm just gonna get back to it, so let's have a conversation about rescue squad. I'd like for us to consider cutting it. Thoughts?
Cut it, one out,
Done.
0.
0. Or if you, I'd like by before long, at some point, if you don't feel comfortable completely cutting it out, I'm fine with staging it as long as it's going in the direction of 0. So,
You know, Mr. Finance Director, do we know how, in your report, how much money the rescue squad has in the bank? Is that kosher to ask?
yeah, they had that, did you not?
I gave it back to him, I didn't.
Let's see. If I can find it in here. I haven't looked at these things in a while, so you have to excuse me.
I know the rescue
They've
squad.
got, well, as of 2024, they had $58,000 in cash.
In the bank. There is a service like, including whether the rescue squad goes and gets nurses, everybody, and transports them, mostly in the county. Takes them to the hospitals and stuff. It's not, that has nothing to do with that training they're asking for, but
Look, I think, just like I've cut before, cutting money out is not reflecting that. I don't think it's a great service. I think it is.
yeah.
But when I ran for council, when I ran for mayor, the thing that people kept saying is I wanted you to be smart with the money that you spend.
That
And
we
so,
should.
and, I would say if you were to knock on everyone's door, and they would tell you that it's not money that needs to be spent if our city fire department is doing a lot of those services or is trained to that level. I get what you're saying, but I just think that money could be better used in the actual fire department's budget.
And I always like to point out, about 30% of the county's tax collections come from the city. So it's not like, we're not going to 0, we're going to 30% of what the county's getting.
And look, I mean, and I'll be frank, and I know it's recorded, is that, for a long time, I think Mayor Foster's done a good job, but for a long time, the county has struggled financially. I think that's why you look back to the 90s and early 2000s where the city picked up things that they normally wouldn't, because the county couldn't afford it. But the county's in a good position financially. I think we need to, where we can, let them take over county services. That's just from the conversations and the research that I've done, looking at the 90s and early 2000s.
Well, if the fire department, say the rescue squad, the fire department is chief here.
He stepped out.
If they need the rescue squad, they'll ask for them, they'll ask for them. They're not automatically dispatched to everything in the city. Mostly it's for looking for a missing person. Other than that, our fire department is trained, well-versed, as well-trained as anybody in our region.
So the rescue squad would be something we would use if it was like a large-scale problem here?
If there's
when would something like that?
Okay, looking for a certain lost person, inclement weather,
Does that mean they won't show up if you don't give them the money?
pardon?
Does that mean they won't show up if you don't give them money?
No, that doesn't mean, I've never heard that.
I'm sure that'll help.
I just don't think we need to, I know it's hard, but I don't want to tie giving or not giving money, meaning that we like them or not like them, or that they're doing a good job or not doing a good job. I know it may be interpreted that way by some people, but the reality is they don't need the money. I would rather redirect, I know it's $10,000, but if you look at 10,000 here, 15 here, we look up, we'll have 6 figures worth of money that can be reallocated for raising it from 2% to 3% COLA, or adding in the equipment that we need, or leave it in the fire's budget and they can use it as a way to, offset whatever, I'm literally spitballing with you, but I just would rather that money be within our parameters to use when we need it, how we need it.
I think a reasonable approach might be to consider giving them $5,000 this year, which is half of what we gave them last year, and then next year.
Just kind of let them know, hey,
Yes, sir, that we're working in that direction. I think that's something to consider.
And to me, it's a county function, it's more appropriately funded there, where we're also contributing already.
Well, there are things that's Crossville Cumberland County Rescue Squad. It's don't say, it just don't say
I'm
criminal
fine
rescue.
with that. I think the bigger picture for me is just working in a direction. And maybe that's a way to have a conversation. I'm fine with that. I would rather people come in and ask for one-offs, like, hey, can we come in and have X number of dollars this year and this year alone, versus just being in the reoccurring. That's my thing that I just don't like, unless it's providing the service. But there's, I know they are, but it's a redundancy, it's not used, whatever. So, what are y'all thoughts on Mark's suggestion on going from?
I think that's fine.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
Okay, so,
But I'm also okay with what you said too, so. I mean, honestly, I am.
is there a way, Nathan, that we can, when we give the money, you can also either a note or something, say this will be the last?
Yeah,
If you
I'll
need
send
things
them a
moving
letter.
forward, it would be, kind of, the structure needs to be as needed.
Yes, I can send a letter.
Yeah. So you're good with that, so are you all fine with that? So we'll make those changes. I know we'll have to do a final vote eventually, but just so we can move forward. So we'll lower it from 10 to 5. And then the last one I got, and then you all can start piling on in other areas, is the veterans services. Again, it's the same conversation that we literally are having. The only reason why I'm not going completely zero is because when you look at their budget, their expenses is like $152,560. The county gives them $139,100. I couldn't find where they were making up that difference. That's where I thought, well, give them $15K, that gives them a little bit of leeway. But we're asking for 25. We've been giving them 20. What did we do back in before 2023? Because I couldn't.
I'd have to go back and pull them.
Okay.
I can't
I
remember.
thought it was less. I thought it was 15.
It may have been, I'd have to go back and pull them all. I just went back there.
I only remember us getting involved when they added an additional person,
Yeah, a part-time person.
a part-time person.
When you say Cumberland County veterans, does that entails Crossville and Cumberland?
Correct.
Okay. So,
But the VSO typically is a county service. I'm fine with giving them money based off the percentage of veterans, but
do we know how many veterans lives in the city versus?
yeah, there's a whole thing on there. But that's why I'm fine with the percentages. I think there's what, 8,000 in the whole county. I think there's like 690 in the city. I looked at it from their cover letter.
Did I pull that for you? Here's probably this year's cheap.
It came out to like, was it 7 or 9%, I think, it's in the city. So that's where, if you do the math, 152, which is their expenses, 152,000, I did it at 7% or 9%, it was like somewhere between 10 or 15. So I can flip to that, we can geek out if you want on how I justify the numbers, but we're still giving, based off what the county's giving, the percentage within reason of what the actual people percentage-wise veterans live in the city. Does that make sense? Which actually it's less of like 11 or 12,000. But then I went back and said, well, there's about 13,000 and some change gap.
So you don't have any problem with this figure, Mayor, or anybody else here have a problem with this figure for the veterans, right?
Going from, they're asking for 25. The recommendation is 20. I recommend that we go down to 15.
Which again, more than covers their budgetary gap.
Yeah, and if you look at the ratio of how many are in the total county versus how many are just in the city, it was like $11,000 or $12,000 that we would have given if you would have gave based on what the county gives. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just me trying to city versus county, county services. Honestly, it's another thing where the county should be giving that difference, and the city came to the table and said we would do it. Because at the time, the county wouldn't. Really, the county should be supplying the full budget for this. It's another thing where we got involved because at the time, for some reason, they weren't or couldn't. So.
Yeah, city taxpayers are already paying for this, and and then we added a little bit more to supplement it to help get some things going.
But at this point, the county is at a position where financially they can take care of a lot of this stuff.
That's more appropriate.
So that's where I'm kind of,
15's good.
okay.
Yep.
You guys good with 15?
Yep.
Sorry, I know I keep kicking a dead horse, but I'm just trying to.
Just don't know this.
So what?
I'm just,
All right, well, this is what we're here for, though. Like, what else do y'all want to talk about? Like, I'm more than happy to brainstorm anything. I think we're gonna get back with the whole EMA, emergency management thing, right, with that?
I'm
So
still
we'll figure
digging
that
out
out,
the
okay.
contract, yes.
What was we gonna talk about EMA? How was we gonna approach that?
Yeah, scroll down a little bit further, there's $32,000. You're looking at the county, go over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess through this conversation, you found that there was a,
It's a donation that we give to the county for EMA. We also supply vehicle, fuel, maintenance, insurance, and tags.
We supply the vehicle, the fuel, and the maintenance. And that's the 32,000?
No, it's in addition.
That's
to
in
the
addition.
32.
so where is that donation at?
It's
The fire.
fire department's budget.
So what is that amount, though?
I
For
don't
the
have it
fuel,
separate, yeah, we have,
Oh, so we don't have it separated out?
No.
So potentially what that would do is create margin in that budget and or reduce that budget.
And so what you're saying, though, if we're already paying for EMA through our taxes anyway, this is extra? That's the same argument that you have.
I think we're just looking at from, is there a contract, because it goes back to what you said, 92 or 94, this has been.
94 is the earliest I found. It was 13,000 or something in 1994.
Yeah.
And it's periodically increased since then. I found it in a resolution in 1994. But it may go back further, that's just what I found.
Basically for the director.
It didn't say, he just had
He was the
donations.
director then. I remember 94, I started in 93.
I think the assistant director is which one drives this vehicle.
Do what?
The assistant director drives the vehicle.
We got
Well, they've got two vehicles. So do we do both of them or just
Just
one?
one. And the county paid for half of it. We invoiced them for half of the vehicle in 2020.
Half of the vehicle that the director drives?
I think it just goes back, it's literally the same conversation, if I can repeat, it's the services by the county.
Yeah.
At some point that we had stepped up.
And they do an excellent job.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're there every time it happens. One of these days, we do get a bad one, they'll be ready.
We've had some fun ice storms in the past.
Yeah, we have.
So I'll get back to you on that.
Anything else? I know this is usually the hot topic thing, that's why I want to make sure we chew on it.
I would just remind you that the dispatch, the $550,000 a year that we try pay with the county and so forth, that's a service that we're encumbered to use, that we really have zero input and zero day-to-day operational suggestions, actually applied input, I should say. I suppose we have input, but we as a city have no voice in that. Just point that out.
That's a contract?
I'm sure.
Yes.
Half supplied to the fire budget, half supplied to the police
It's a
budget.
2019 contract is when it started.
What can we do about that? We have no voice in anything there. We're paying half of it. What's fair about that?
The statute's based on gives the county mayor full appointment authority. So everybody on the board is appointed by the county mayor and approved by the county commission within 90 days. So the county would have to appoint somebody. Other than that,
So if that's the case, I mean, I think that's something that we can ask the city manager, and to whatever extent I can, is we can push that with the county mayor and try to get a voice on there. I don't know whether, I think that's worth having a conversation. If that's an issue that keeps coming up, I think it's a matter of just saying, well, when's the next opening? Let's,
I've heard of some counties, they'll alternate every time a position becomes available. Yes, the county mayor makes the appointment, but it's an appointment made if there's a spot open and aren't interested in applying for it to be on that board. The county mayor comes to the city manager and says, do you have anyone interested in fulfilling this open position? And they pick someone at the manager's recommendation. And the next time an appointment comes open, they pick from a county appointed
maybe that's,
recommendation.
I think, I really feel like that's an easy fix. I don't know what the next appointment is. Maybe.
What's that board called?
Emergency Communication Board, 911 Board, and what we call it locally, the 911 Board.
How many members are on it, Dr. Member?
11, 9 or 11.
9 or 11.
There is another
I think he
board
was
though, that I know that
just
Chief
reappointed.
South's supposed to be.
I think I saw in the newspaper this morning. He was
There's
just
something called
reappointed.
He
was there for sure,
User
right?
advisory board, that's all the department heads.
We used to have the board mayor where we met once a month, all the department heads,
That's what,
and we done the hiring, the firing, and whatever, and the budget, and then that just went away.
well, that was before the 911 board became a separate entity out from under
But
the.
we do need to make sure any representation we have on the user board needs to be going, because I know that wasn't consistently gone to. So if the Chief South's the one that goes to it, we need to make sure he's going to. Okay.
So does any of our police chief, the fire chief, Valerie, can
He
they
goes
go
to
up there
the
and
user board,
say?
don't you?
I'm not, no, we don't have any say over the board, but
No, but you go to the user board though, right?
yes.
Can you go to the chief, go over and say, I need this changed, or I need this or that pertaining to your department?
Yes. And generally, they'll put it in place.
Generally?
Yeah, generally.
I think the part though that Mark you were talking about though is on the 911 board is that
But I've never really asked
if
for
there's a
anything costing
frustration,
money.
that doesn't get addressed.
Right.
Procedure.
Is Mr. Mullins still the chair?
He is.
Okay.
So what we'll do is let's give it 30 days and maybe you can report back. That'll give enough time to figure something out because just be ready though.
And
Be ready.
Ready for what?
And there are no designated
Needs to be put on.
seats.
Yeah.
There are no, that this is a slot for a so-and-so.
Okay, so they're all at large, basically?
They're all at large. There's not a finance director seat. There's not a.
Council member seat or
There's
county
not a
commissioner?
council, there's not a elected sheriff seat. They're all at large.
Can I say something else on that, if you don't mind? I'd never felt like we had any say with the 911 stuff. And to rotate the board would probably be a pretty good idea, because if I needed anything, I've had to go outside the city to ask for something, you know, it's gonna cost money or whatever. So, you know, it'd be a good idea, that's a great idea.
So now they could be on the board for life. It's not nothing rotating. Like
Well,
their point.
Yes, I mean, the appointments are 4-year appointments.
Oh, 4-year appointment.
4-year appointments, and then it's at the mayor's discretion whether
To
you have
renew
it
it.
renewed, or, and to the board member's decision as to whether he or she wants to continue on it. If the mayor wants you to continue and you want to continue, then yes, you can be on it ad infinitum,
How often they meet?
once a month.
Once a month.
So,
Fourth Tuesday of the
Are
month.
you on it?
They'll give you
I don't
something.
even get a notice of it.
so at the end of that 4 years,
Classified.
Which
if
is
I say, if I'm
probably
on the
against
board,
the law,
I say,
too.
I want to stay on the board, I like it. And the mayor says, no, no,
I do too.
it's
I
his
see it in the
discretion. and I
newspaper
get
now
off.
and then.
100%,
Off, I'd be off.
100%.
But I mean, you're saying though if you have a problem, you call Eric and you don't get heard, is that what you're saying?
No, Eric.
Okay, so my experience with Eric's been very
Yeah, I'm just saying like procedure stuff.
Okay, I got you.
And like generally, the city, the police department gets the new dispatchers. When they hire somebody new, we get the new ones, they train them to go to the county side. And, you know, we need good quality dispatchers too. And
My point is, I just think that's a sizable yearly financial commitment with, in essence, no applied input.
Let's see what happens and maybe we can get that fixed.
That'd be great.
Maybe we can continue talking about it, but. Okay. That's good. Are we good here?
so far.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, what's next? We done with everything?
What we had, where'd my mouse go? There it is. There, come on back over here, there we go. We got, Public Works was next, but that's, the whole thing in there was they were doing some repairs to their building. It's facility maintenance, they were putting some pillars underneath it for stabilization and
Some flooding and.
some flooding issues. Nothing else there. And then the airport is the last of the general fund items.
And that's a grant, the miscellaneous equipment, that's mowing and equipment for, and it's a grant.
Do you want to tell them, since it's in there, about the hangar? I'm not sure everybody knows about that.
I included that in my email.
Oh, did you?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
y'all,
yeah, yeah.
did y'all hear about that?
Whisper. I don't remember the details.
Cameron's, got us funding for another hangar.
From the state. They were unloading something interesting down there the other day. Some little wings. I don't know.
I mean, I know, I'm sure they'll tell you, they got some big contracts with the Air Force, Army, and Navy, so it'll be interesting to see who will be coming to town visiting.
Did you want to look at the capital projects as a whole?
Yeah.
There's the
Capital projects mainly are a wish list, right?
Well, no, some of them are not. So like, the spec building is, that's what we have to do. The traffic signal on Fourth and West.
And we did go ahead and put the whole amount in there, although we don't anticipate that it will be completed next fiscal year, but we weren't sure how far along it would get. So we went ahead and put the whole amount in there.
And these two lines we've already said we're going to do, so.
Pass it down.
Wait, there's more. We're just full of fun stuff.
And this, these traffic signals are almost ready to bid.
Would you say that again?
The traffic signals are almost ready to bid. That
That's
were
it?
approved, yes.
It's crazy, we approved that last year, it's just how crazy how long it takes.
It's been about a year.
And I got hung up in T-Dot for several months.
What is it called? Wait for the safety then, right after.
So there's not really a wish list there, it's just basic infrastructure.
What's the Northwest Connector for $275,000? Is that like paving and stuff?
That's the Northwest Connector 2 that we anticipate will take off in the next fiscal year. The section from Bojangles to 70. So we'll put some money in there for engineering.
Is it on the state's list yet?
We hope to know within a few weeks.
We've been, Val and I have been, excuse my French, we've been giving it hell with the state, working with Cameron and Paul, so just.
Try to give me a roundabout one if you can.
I tell you what, I never knew about round, I was in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yeah, the other side of town didn't have one.
They got more roundabouts than I've ever seen in my life. Bowling Green's a nice place. You been to Bowling Green, Kentucky?
Just drove through.
Huh?
Just drove through.
They got more, like I said, roundabouts, and they're easy to navigate.
You air braking around there, letting that back in?
Oh, burn it, no.
And we do have the Fire Station 1 remodel included in that list. We've received the bids, and that'll be on your agenda next week for discussion.
Fire Station 1,
The renovations.
and the bids came in,
They came in at 1.5.
what do we have budgeted?
We were hoping for 1.4.
What's the truck route from Main Street?
That's to
That's
get
good, the traffic off Main
the
Street.
trucks on Main Street.
That's Miller, I think.
So is it just signs, or what is it exactly? Is it just signs?
It's a whole study and a T-Dot permit
Okay.
that we're going through. And then it'll be traffic signalization.
In the absence of that, I mean, how do you slow down Main Street? I was at Griner House the other day, and I was like, some of them are flying down that road, I don't know how you do that. You can put up all the signs you want, blink and whatever, but
You know, crosswalks, DCI is working on some grants for crosswalks. Hopefully that will distract the traffic and slow them down a little bit, just general traffic calming measures.
Not to change the subject, we're still on for May 15th for Main Street.
Last I heard.
Okay.
I'm holding my breath.
Yeah.
We'll get the first crossing over there by the depot and Social Brew somewhere. Maybe on the corner by French's over there.
You know, one of the things also, I forgot to say this to you, is a lot of people that, they choose not to park by Fifth Street Market, that big parking lot, no one knows going to this, I think you can use public parking after hours, is because of just how horrible people are driving on Visit West.
You run over right there.
And I know, I think some of the conversation with DCI is to try to find a way to cross there where, courthouse and that, somewhere around there, there's that blind curve, I just didn't know.
That traffic signal here, that includes a crosswalk and pit signals there.
Coming from south to north on West Avenue, right there by the Fifth, it's like the Dukes of Hazzard sometimes. I mean, if they could jump that hill, they would.
Because when we talk about, from a parking standpoint, we have a lot of parking in the city, and we do that, and you mentioned that, people scoff at that. And the few times that I've used it, which is usually me running late to the Christmas tree lighting, because I'm coming from work trying, and that's where I park, because there's no one parking there. It is a nightmare to cross.
You're talking about the big,
There.
by trailer park? Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because, and I literally have to run, I'm like, well, I
Had
can
them flip
run,
there.
the average person is not.
It can go clear to the left when you step out around that curve, it's not clear.
And they're going, so I don't know what, but maybe that'll help, but.
Yeah.
Y'all, anything else? All right, so moving forward, can we all agree that between now and the June business meeting, we will be done? At the June business meeting, I'd like to have the third and final reading. Is there anything else y'all want to bring up? This is the time to do it. I really would, I want to schedule a work session and talk this out. I want to get away from the third reading being chaos. I'd like the third reading to be a peaceful, easy feeling, as the Eagles would say.
I just heard that song.
Take it easy.
By the way, up into the sphere, you need to go. That's great.
The third reading is projected to be at the June.
June what?
Second Tuesday in June.
12th, I think.
Council meeting.
Well, if there's any discussion, it can come up in the work session before.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Next Tuesday.
When's the first
Yeah.
meeting?
Council meeting.
We have a special call meeting, is that what you said? We have a special call meeting on June the 5th for the second reading.
I didn't say that. I said that anything that comes up.
Is this the first
we handle
reading
at the
per
work
se,
session.
or is this a work session on the first
It's a
reading?
work session, yeah.
So-
First reading will be Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Not this Tuesday, week next
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
you talk about the regular meeting.
Week of Tuesday, sorry.
Or do you want to,
A regular business meeting.
So we'll have to have a special call if we're going to finalize the third reading.
That's what I was saying, on the work session in June, you could have a special call then, unless you wanted to move it up a couple of weeks and do it end of May.
I don't see a problem with it.
let's do the second special call right before,
Work session.
yeah, and then if there's more, you got a week to talk with the city manager about whatever you need, but I just would like for,
Or do you want to do the work session first, that way you can talk about it and then do the second reading?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Do the work session the first Tuesday,
And then-
June, and if there's any discussion, then have a special call at the end of that for the second reading.
Yeah.
So, without getting into full discussion.
you all got everything on any edits that we've done, there's not any edits that we've done.
I don't know what we've done today. I sent out the vetted stuff yesterday when we added the new employee engineering. That's been the only change.
Looks good.
Okay, all right, well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
That it?
for now.
I move we adjourn.